The Hawkeye series may have been a project that may not have been on many fans' radar up until now, but with the recent release of the first trailer, it's fair to say the interest has at least been somewhat revitalized in the character. So stick with us, watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, as we break down some of the key details that we see in the new Hawkeye trailer, and try to piece together what we might be able to expect from Disney Plus' latest series. The trailer opens on an introductory shot of the setting, as we learn that the Hawkeye show will take place over the holiday season, and multiple signs to the duration of the show lasting only a few days, to maybe a week, with multiple lines in the trailer seeming to hint at this. But while we will be touching on these, we don't as of yet know for sure. Perhaps one of the most interesting details is the poster advertising Rogers the Musical, which seems to be a Broadway musical centered around the life of Steve Rogers and his development into Captain America. And though we are only given a brief shot of the poster at the beginning, another shot later seems to show the production in the middle of a musical number. Though no plot details can be discerned from these brief shots, we do see actors dressed up as Thor as well as Loki, indicating that the show might take place during the events of the first Avengers, only with an enhanced focus on Steve Rogers. The first Avengers film, quite famously, has a lengthy list of deleted scenes that all center around Steve's perspective and him coming to terms with his new life upon finding out that everyone he once knew is now long gone. But instead of dwelling on this detail for too long, let's get into more plot-related content for Hawkeye. Hawkeye is seen resuming his family life, finally sharing a dinner with his wife and children before seeing a news report that seemingly concerns Ronan being the persona that he took on after the events of Avengers Infinity War. Ronan, quite famously, was the identity that Clint used to terrorize the criminal underworld during the 5 years between Infinity War and Endgame, and the news anchor speculates that Ronan might be back. It has been all but confirmed that his past is now catching up to him, as Clint says as much, and that his activities during the blip will play a direct role in the new Hawkeye series, with old enemies coming out of the woodworks to hunt down the masked vigilante that wreaked havoc on their operations. Many have even theorized that when Professor Hulk snapped and returned the dusted half of the population, the criminal organization in question quite predictably doubled in size, with their dusted members returning after 5 years. This would give any number of organizations the manpower to resume the hunt for the masked figure known as Ronan. However, in this case, Ronan does not seem to be Clint, but more on that in a minute. Clint sends his family away and promises them that he'll be home by Christmas, lending evidence to our previous point that the show may only take place over a few days or possibly a couple of weeks. It is important to note, however, that some of the most popular storytelling formulas dictate that the climax of a story take place at an emotional event or a setting, and it is highly likely that whatever the climax of the show is will take place on either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. But this is simply speculation based on widely accepted storytelling systems that have been in place for decades at this point. After this, we get our first look at Ronan, who, as we mentioned, is not Clint in this case. Upon unmasking Ronan, Clint finds none other than Kate Bishop has taken up the mantle, and it seems that one of two situations is taking place here. Option 1 is that Kate is continuing Clint's work of terrorizing criminal organizations and is now facing the consequences of her own actions. This would mean that Hawkeye is stepping in as a protector role, and his line about his past catching up to him means that he unwittingly convinced another unenhanced individual to put herself in harm's way. The other option is that an organization that Clint dismantled during the blip is now hunting Kate Bishop, as they believe her to be the original Ronan. Of the two, this option seems to be the most likely, with Clint incurring the wrath of an incredibly dangerous criminal empire, the likes of which Kate Bishop has likely never seen. If Kate is simply using the mantle to stop muggings and street crimes as most street-level heroes do, then she likely will not be prepared to face down an organization this large and this dangerous. It should be noted that one of the criminal organizations that may be after Kate Bishop and Hawkeye could in fact be the one led by Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, who is rumored to make his jump from the Netflix TV series onto the Disney Plus show in Hawkeye. For those of you that aren't aware, Kevin Feige recently semi-decanonized the Netflix shows, stating that a lot of them did not take place in the mainline MCU, and now with the idea of different timelines and the TVA, this does make a little bit more sense. Anyway, it was actually rumored and even close to confirmed that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin would in fact be showing up in the Hawkeye show as a major antagonist, as one of the leaders of these crime organizations, which would also make sense as it appears as if a lot of the Hawkeye series also takes place in New York City, with Kate Bishop as Ronin likely meddling in a lot of Wilson Fisk's operations, potentially before Hawkeye and the Avengers brought back the rest of humanity that had been snapped away by Thanos. This would be huge for the fans of the Netflix show, as it would be one of the first examples of a Marvel Netflix character making the jump into the more mainline and streamlined MCU, with Wilson Fisk being a great option, as again this Hawkeye show seems to be dealing with lower level individuals and lower level heroes that are unenhanced. And on the flip side of that, you have Wilson Fisk, who himself is an unenhanced antagonist. But let's go on with the trailer itself. Later in the trailer, Kate Bishop remarks that some have called her the world's best archer, meaning that she will not be beginning her training from scratch in this series, though Hawkeye still will likely have a few tricks up his sleeve to teach her. We are given a brief montage of action while Clint is trying to cover his tracks from his wife, and a few of the shots seem to hint that the series might even take a turn into spy thriller territory, with Clint incurring a shootout while in a tuxedo reminiscent of various James Bond films. While there is most certainly going to be an in-plot explanation, the idea of a super spy like Clint Barton being given a TV project that pays homage to classic spy thrillers could be an interesting idea worth seeing in the MCU. Jeremy Renner himself already has a history of playing various super spies and secret agents, with the most famous arguably being that of Aaron Cross in the Jason Bourne franchise, the most famous aside from Hawkeye, that is. We then see constant reminders that Clint is in fact only human, and is not enhanced or superpowered in any way, as he pays the consequences of his actions in the form of various debilitating injuries in a brief shot. In the next series of shots, Clint is abducted by whatever organization is hunting them, and are able to see what appears to be Kate Bishop botching a rescue attempt of Clint, with her crash landing into the middle of the encounter without any sign of tactical advantage. This again likely means one of two situations is possible. Option 1 is that Kate does in fact have a backup plan, be it a bomb she planted of some kind or timed distraction that will allow her and Hawkeye the opportunity to fight their way out. Option 2 is that this was a genuine mistake, and as they are both in custody, they will have to develop an escape plan together while in captivity. In addition to this, we see a recurring shot of a woman with red hair, who the credits indicate is Eleanor Bishop, hinting that Kate's home life and double life as an undercover superhero will play a large role in this series as well, with her character likely taking notes from Peter Parker on how to be a teenage superhero juggling home, school, social, and superhero lives all together. So not only will Hawkeye be hiding his heroic activities from his family, but it appears as if Kate Bishop may be as well. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of the trailer for Hawkeye? And are you more excited for Hawkeye now than you were before, now that we've gotten to see some footage? Do you think this show will stand up to the likes of previous Disney Plus entries, or do you think it will fall flat? Also, if we missed any key details or Easter eggs in the video, please be sure to let us know in the comments down below. As always, my friends, hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.